Hey everyone, I'm Ingrid Ahumada.
Hello folks, I'm Rick Meekins.
Join us for the next half hour on Epiphany Off the Cuff, where we will discuss what's going on in the entrepreneur community.
All right.
How are you guys?
Go ahead, Ingrid.
Hey.
Okay, so Rick, let me just do it because it seems like you today are so happy that you are just like your tone is turning around.
Do you see the beautiful woman I'm with?
We
I
are
mean, do you
more
blame
me? We are just three and we're just happy to be here. This is our 8th episode. We have a very, very special guest today. Is our wonderful friend and client, Eddie Brumbaugh from Eddie Home and Life on Style.
Hey,
Welcome, Eddie.
How's it going?
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me, you guys.
We are happy
This is
to
my
have
first
you. Absolutely.
podcast, I think so.
Oh, this is your first one?
Thank you.
Okay, all right, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think you actually were born for doing this.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, all of you like listeners and the ones, our audience, I am like 100% sure that they're going to love you. I don't know if you guys are following if you already know or don't know Eddie before, you are about to. So you are going to check like every story on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and all about our amazing stories that you have. So yes, I am more than sure that you are born for this.
Thank you, Ingrid. Let's start telling stories.
All right,
what we starting with?
Well, obviously, we've been in this pandemic. What's it been like 9-10 months now? So we've been in this situation. Now, you had a business before all this started. And so what we want to do is we're going to hear a little bit about your business and what you did and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So originally, and for the past about 14, 15 years, I have a company, design company, interior design, where I do interior design services and I offer furniture and accessory purchasing services for people, which is a little bit more specialized, a little bit more shop for me kind of thing. And I find items for them. Service under my business name, named after my first son, is called Jackson Charles. Mm-hmm. And Jackson Charles Design Specialist. I started out as Jackson Charles Design Studio. So same acronym, JCDS, and I cover interior design services. So as I've kind of progressed and gone through the years and just starting to kind of feel like I didn't quite fit the mold completely for interior design. I always felt like there was something further that was involved with that service that I wasn't exactly putting my finger on. Okay. I've never been what the design community probably here would classify as my, your classic designer, where I'm into, the technical part of it and, just all the different layers that interior design has. I'm not really plugged in like that. I don't go to all the functions. And although I may know a lot of people and they might know me, they don't see me at regular industry events and things like that. I'm usually at home or with my kids or, a lot of designers in this whole industry. There's a lot of, there's a lot of gay men, but, they usually don't come with families. And then you have a lot of younger people who don't have families either. So people who have families and run these types of businesses are usually consumed. And that would be me. So over the years, I've just kind of evolved into just kind of, just maybe a more nurturing part of me and just wanting to get into, there's an emotional side to it. So it wasn't fitting for me anymore. And it just felt like there was something else I was supposed to be doing. So going through a divorce and just, a big life change, it kind of made me stop and pay attention to some things and kind of, was feeling a little lost. Just kind of like, where am I supposed to be? I don't know if you ever go through this part of your career where you just feel like, what am I doing? And most people will either change careers or I just kind of pivoted. So I knew that interior design was where I was supposed to be. That's how I got to Atlanta. It's what brought me here. But I felt like there was something more that I was supposed to be giving or doing or something. So as I went through my divorce and I kind of started trying to feel around for what drives me, like, what am I passionate about? And more and more and more, I was always talking about either that relationship and moving into other people's relationships. And it just became a everyday thing where I'm always talking and discussing and da 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 da. So go away. and so eventually I just kept nudging that. And I was, it's funny because I was in my bedroom and during my divorce is really nasty. So I was in and out of the house. This judge put me and my ex-husband in the same house. So anyway, I was in and out of the house and packing stuff and moving it around. And, you run into old stuff. So I ran into all of these books and I was going through my nightstands and in my closet, I've got like these shelves. And so I keep all my folded jeans in there. And then a couple of the shelves, I have just books and stuff, right? Old stuff I've kept forever. I don't read. First of all, I don't read. I listen to books. That's the only way I can get the book in, right? So, because I'm moving, so I do it in the car, but I feel like Ellen right now. So anyway, you ever listen to Ellen all over the place? So what I realized was that all these books and all this stuff is like more books than interior design. It was relationship books and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, how about that in the 90s? And I got that in Florida. And I know that's from this year. And this was back in college. And I'm like, I've been collecting this shit like my whole life. And this is what I'm interested in, obviously. I just never really connected to a field or a job or a passion, but it is. So I got to own that. So I'm thinking, okay, well, the only way that I'm going to make this make sense is if I can incorporate it into what I'm already doing. I can't just drop interior design. This is what made me. This is what I'm good at. This is what my bread and butter makes me money. It feeds my family, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, so I got to figure it out because I definitely don't want to be the person that over the years I've sold shoes, I've sold real estate, then I came back and did credit. Now I'm, Legal Shield, and then I'm car salesman. I'm like, this is what I do. And so I got to make this make sense because I'm not leaving this. So I started working on that. Like, how do you throw relationships into that? And how do you involve interiors? And so is that events? Is that this? Is that whatever? So that's how I came up with Offline. But so I say all that to say is that the COVID didn't start this for me. It wasn't a pivot into online sales for me. It was something that I was already working on. And actually, COVID-19 gave me the opportunity to work on it longer. And without the world going like this and me trying to still get my pieces and jump in and jump out and not being able to finish anything, it's like God said, all right, we're going to stop traffic. Eddie needs to walk across the street. Come on, Eddie, walk across the street. Got everybody stopped in the house. So it was good for me. So it wasn't really, it was definitely good for what I was already doing. That's how I got online and trying to get it all on. I had already started the Shopify site well before that. I never even finished it. I was just in and out the house and working on clients and trying to pay the mortgage and and juggling and never having enough time to put, enough emphasis on it to just say go. So I was happy about that.
Okay, cool.
That's cool.
Did I answer the question?
Yeah. Sorry, I thought that Rick was gonna move forward, but yeah, I wanted to tell you that yes, that sounds really interesting. And actually, I've seen Eddie that we can tell that right now a lot of brands have come into this. I think also this decision as well, and has incorporated a lifestyle. Compound, a component that involves life in either way, either if it is content, post for social media, website, it's not official product, but still you're talking about your life. I mean, people is just wants to connect, right? So you are really, really right in saying that definitely God puts you this moment, right? So you can complete it because this is part of the new normal. I believe. So can you tell us a bit more about those brands? I mean, how are you merging your dating and part, like it's dating, right? It's coaching with interior design.
You know, it's so funny because even though that event space is there for offline Atlanta, which is the whole dating idea, and I can talk about that, but that's kind of evolving. I can feel what I want to do. I haven't been able to verbalize it so much yet. So I've just created the space, so to speak, and I'm kind of massaging it. So there's Jackson Charles Design Specialist, which is the interior design firm. That was the main thing. And then I kind of created Offline Atlanta because once I started dating and talking to people about it, they were like, "You're dating already? Are you kidding me?" And these are people that I know are single or whatever, or always have been. I've always been in a relationship. I'm always in a relationship. So when I'm single, I'm like, woo! I got 5 minutes. I got 10 minutes. Hurry, get it on. So my whole perspective and energy when it comes to dating, I find, and what I've been told most consistently is that it's refreshing. Like, my God, I've been meeting people and no one talks like you and they just keep me engaged. And I'm like, yeah. So what do you think about that? Well, what'd you do? Are you serious? Well, did you call her back? You know, I'm like all in it because I know I got 5 minutes. So my energy is different. I'm like, yeah. This is great. Meanwhile, everybody I meet, they're like, woe is me, you know. Another one, you're gonna leave me too, huh? What's your name? And you know, they're just like,
oh my God, yes.
What are you guys doing out here? So the more I went along, I realized that people are hurting out there. Like, they are lost and their glasses are half empty. And so, and it's mainly in this group of people in their 40-ish time, really. Mm-hmm. You know, because up until 40, you think you can still do it. You got it, blah, blah, blah. And for some reason, around that age, this light bulb or this think thing comes on and says, you're 40 and you're single. It's a problem. And people start panicking. So it's not just women, like men are going through it. And I'm like, you poor thing, you're not going to live that long if you don't find a woman. You know that, right? You don't live as long when you don't have a girl or you don't have someone to take care of you because you need it. And so then just hearing all of the things that people are going through and struggling with. And I'm just like, it's not that hard, y'all. You're really putting too much into it. And on top of that, you train to do everything else in your life and you never work on being a partner in a relationship. You think that that's something that just comes natural, and it doesn't. You need to be mindful and intentional about this. And if you really want this, most people are afraid or embarrassed to talk about their singledom or whatever. Although they're having fun, you still want someone to be yours or to, you know what I mean? You want to belong to somebody. You want to have somebody to call or be around when you want to cuddle, or you want to, you know, have a Thanksgiving dinner, or you want to invite somebody, the holidays, you want to like someone, you know, that whole thing. Everybody wants that. But people are embarrassed to say it. And because they're embarrassed to say it, they don't do anything for it. They act like it's just supposed to happen. So when relationships don't work and they're like, I told you so, or it's always like that. Yeah, because you don't put any work into it. You want your teeth to be white, you brush them every day. You know what I mean? Like you keep up with the things that you can see changing or having, but no one thinks about that in relationships. You train to drive and get a license, and you don't.
Let's do this. Can I give your number to my ex?
He needs some help.
He needs your help.
It's just common sense to me. So I was just, so I have it's so funny. I show you a text. I have to snapshot it and put it on social media. She'll kill me. But I was with my dentist, as you guys know, for the past few weeks. And she has a new assistant that moved here from New York. And she's a cute little Black girl. And then my dentist is like, hey, Eddie, I know you're dating now. You need to take her with you. Everybody's always like, do this, Eddie, show this person. So he's like, take her out, tell her where to go. And I was like, well, I can't tell you where to go because I don't go out anymore like that. I'm stuck to my job and what I'm doing. So I got to find a way to meet people in the mix. And the only way I do that is online dating or if someone doesn't set me up with somebody they know, it's online dating for me because I'm not going anywhere. So I'll take my whatever, so. And she's like, oh, really? Tinder? I don't know. I said, no, you got to try it. I said, what's the difference between meeting a crazy in the grocery store or in person or meeting them online? If they're going to be crazy, they're going to be crazy, but you'd be surprised about what you can find. So I talked her into it. And that was probably about a week or so. And she hit me this morning. She was like, I'm on Tinder. It's great. And I was like, see, I said, yeah, you just need a couple of guys to be there waiting on you when you swipe right. Like they already swiped on you and that's addicting. So be careful. She goes, oh yeah, it already happened. It's great. And I was like, see? So she's like, oh, thank you so much. And I'm like, yeah, call me if you need help with your profile. So I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you wasting your life? Like, have a good time. You'll be coupled up before you know it. And it won't be this fun anymore. It'll be a different kind of fun, but it will be challenging. So have a good time, learn something while you're single. If you're going through relationships or different things where you're meeting people, take something from that you can build on, what you want, even if it's something you don't want, you learn something, so it's just part of the course. You just got to stay the course and get your certification and graduate so you know what you're doing. Even if you're single, you know what you're doing. It won't be a problem. You won't be bothered that you're single because you'll know how to handle it. So that was what Offline was about. So the events that I used to put on, I connected it with interiors by saying that it always has to be in a home type space. I love a good house party. I grew up with hip hop in the 80s and the 90s. So house parties is what we did. It was always a way to party cheaper and more fun. And, you could do whatever. It's a house. You're cooking, you're providing food, drinks. You don't have to pay for every drink. That's just more comfortable to me. I like that. I call myself the barbecue girl. So when guys go, what do you mean you're the barbecue girl? I said, well, I've got a lot of like really pretty girlfriends. Like we walk in and everybody's all over them. And I'm like, ooh, I like that because I'm the sleeper barbecue girl, right? If you spend about 4 hours around me, you're going to be like, God, I'm with the real pretty one, but she's the one, man. She is the one. I should have picked her. I'm like, yeah, it always ends up like that, but it's cool. It's cool. So then some, guy that just kind of sitting there and after a while, he's kind of like, hey, what's your name? And I'm like, nah, I'm just chilling. I'm the barbecue girl. So or we'll sit there and we'll have conversation. And then of course they're like, God, you're cool. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a barbecue girl. I'm the ugly one. Here are my friends over there. They got your attention. These girls are like drop dead. Right. And so I'm just kind of like, nah. I like being with all the pretty girls because they get all the attention. So I can be like, oh, that boy. Oh, that's nice. You guys bring all the boys to the yard for me. And then they're going to realize that I'm the barbecue girl. So cool. You guys are out there working it for me. Thank you. But house parties are cool. And what I realize is that people are more open to talk and share and be themselves when they're in a house and not a club. Or we did it at a hotel setting and it was the same thing. We did the hotel space, made it into different living room settings. So it was very comfortable. We had beds, we had living rooms, we had rugs, we had table lamps, and it was like a residential setting. But since it was in the hotel, the feel wasn't there. Like I'm an emotional designer. I can feel things. I can't always tell you how they're supposed to be made or all the technical stuff. I hate numbers. I don't hate numbers, but but I can feel when something's right and when it's wrong, and it was wrong. It wasn't the right setting, even though it was all residented out. It wasn't the right setting. We definitely get more energy in a home, intimate space, up to maybe 30 to 50 people tops. So I'm thinking, you rent a big house space and you do something like that. People are more apt to share and get to know each other when they're in a space like that. So I was like, that's the event. I don't know how you scale it, but when people come out of there, I usually get more texts and calls or emails from the guys, and they usually talk more than the women. So we do like a 2 hour, hour and a half conversation to begin with. We'll throw out some cool topics and let everybody kind of chime in. Before long, it'll go to the females against the man kind of opinion type thing. And then there's always a couple really attractive women in the room that everybody's just like, every time she said something, or a guy that is just, taking over the conversation all the time. The women are like hanging on to every word like Steve Harvey or something, so it's really fun. And then it turns into a party. After that, we go downstairs and there's a club space. So we do role play, women act like the man, pick up the girl, and everybody kind of watches the girl pick up the guy because she's the man, and the man act like, is acting like, he's the girl. So he's sitting there the whole time, like taking pictures and stuff. And she's like, so what's up? What's your name? And he's like, Toya. And he's like, no. So I'm like, it's really interesting to see everybody's perspective of the opposite sex and what they do. Of course, everybody goes extreme in doing it, but it's a lot of fun to watch. And so everybody that gets invited personally, that signs up, you have to go through an interview process because it's an intimate space. And I need to make sure you're single and get a vibe on you. You know what I mean? And maybe I know somebody that you'll match well with or get to know or want to meet. It depends. I'm not a matchmaker, but I'm like, ooh, good one. I'm going to invite him. Yeah, he can come or she can come, So just to make it a little interesting. And then there are a few house rules where kind of bringing the traditions of dating back in, where the women are not allowed. They get these rules at the beginning of the party, the women, and we have a full spread of food. You have drinks all night. You pay a premium fee, which is really cheap, just kind of figuring out the market. It was only like $50, where you can come from 8 to 2 to house party hours. And the women were not allowed, even though you paid, you're not allowed to go get your own drink. You're not allowed to open any doors ever in the house. So if you have to go to the bathroom, if you need to go outside, if you need to go to another room that has a door, you are not allowed to open any doors or order a drink from any bar. No bartender will serve women. So, and then the men are not allowed to fix their own food. So they can't eat and the women can't drink, right? Or the women can't leave. So it gets pretty interesting, because if you don't know somebody, before the night is over, you're going to have to talk to somebody, because you're going to have to use the bathroom, or you're going to want a drink, or you're going to want something to eat. So it kind of forces people to talk to whoever. And so everybody's always trying to figure out who they want to ask. You mind getting me a drink? Can you mind if I get a drink? And so, so it's always really funny to see that happen, because people get up in the middle of the conversation part and like, hey, like, or someone asking somebody they don't never talked to before because they're sitting next to them. So it gets interesting and it's pretty fun, but it's really just a way to get people in this age group to mix and mingle, because it's like they forgot how to. They've been on a spree of not going out. Maybe you've been a parent for the past 5 or 6 years. Maybe you were married and now you're divorced, or, there's just a life change and you have been taken out of the day-to-day of it. And so now you don't know what to do anymore. And you feel like you're out of shape and you don't know what's going on or whatever. And it's just more comfortable when you're around more people around that age range or understands that concept, because dating someone who's never been in a long-term relationship, they just don't know. They just don't know. And it's completely different, especially when you're working all the time. You don't have time to date. You never really veer off of your day-to-day schedule. So it's hard to meet anybody new. It's hard to get into any other circles because you're doing the same thing all the time. So it's just a little, breath of fresh air to do something different. That's not the club, but still put you around like-minded people that kind of want to do the same thing.
And so
that was the offline
for you. So this is a business for you. This dating relationship.
It, but I couldn't figure. I'm not like the person who says, "Okay, I'm going to do this, and this is how we make money." I just have the ideas. I wish they would make money.
We can help with that.
But I don't think there's ever been an event that I put on where I came out making $1. I always kind of come out doing a little, because I'm always doing something more. I'm always adding a little bit. It's the experience. So that's the offline thing. And I think the byproduct of that was I'm just always talking to people. So I kind of thought about some relationship coaching, possibly. I just don't know where to angle that yet. I haven't decided what that is yet. So I'm just trying to fill that out. But that would be the byproduct component or service from that. But at that point, that's another service which takes more time, which I don't have a lot of, right? So that's where I am with it. I think those are all my products besides Eddie Home and Life, which is the lifestyle brand that kind of brings both of those things together.
So you'll have to tell us about that. I mean, that's I mean, that's something that you're in production, so to speak.
Yeah. So that's the new baby, Eddie Home and Life Unstyled. The name is comes from my name, but I guess because I always had a business and I never wanted it to be in my name. I was always kind of like, make it look like this. I don't want everybody, I'm here, but I'm not here. I want you to see me, but I'm not trying to be Front Street. I don't want it to be my name. So kind of going through this whole evolution, divorce and blah, 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 things changing. It was kind of like, you're just going to have to own it. You're going to have to own who you are. You're going to have to, you go through changes like that. And you realize that all the things that you were so consumed with trying to keep up with all the time as a single parent now, and it's different because you could be a single parent the whole time you're a parent and you've evolved into that and you're okay with it and you do what you got to do and you're used to it. But when you are a single parent after being married or in a relationship for a long time, it's like somebody pulled the rug from under your feet. So you're not ready. You're stumbling or you're free falling and you haven't caught on because things have just changed suddenly. And you're not used to being a single parent. You've always been used to, sharing tasks and things with other people. So everything that I used to be so thorough on because I had a partner that took care of other things while I could handle certain things because somebody was at home handling everything else or vice versa, So when it became, okay, you got to run a business and you got to run the house, it's like, okay. So whereas I wouldn't be okay with my house being a mess like it is now or things laying out longer or the damn Christmas tree was up until March. So those are just things that you have to just roll with the punches on. And if you're going to let it bother you, you're going to always be bothered and you're going to always be consumed with trying to make it perfect. For what? It's your life. Figure it out while you're going and try to be as happy as you can be. Keep it as straight as you can. Do the best that you can do. And that's all you can do. And why are we so pressed to have everything perfect? So Eddie Home and Life Unstyled came from, own who you are, even though it's Eddie. The way that we wrote it and the way that my brand designer the way she came up with it, I was like, it doesn't look like it's about me anymore. It looks like a verb. It looks like something you do. I feel like you can Eddie anything at this point. Like, I feel like it's an adjective. It describes something you do. I don't know what yet, but I was very comfortable with it saying Eddie Home and Life. It used to be Lifestyle. We changed it to Unstyle because lifestyle just left this angst in my heart. I was like, something's wrong with that. Like, I don't think you should aspire to be where I am because you don't know my life. And if you knew, you wouldn't want to be this, right? I'm thinking. So I said, so lifestyle to me sounds like that whole pretentious picture that everybody acts like they want to be like. I don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that person. I want to be me and I want to make mistakes and I want to be able to talk about that. And I want to be talking about the good and the bad and the whatever. And if it's embarrassing, it's life. And the more people talk about it, it's like you could be yourself. So Eddie Home and Life Unstyled is all about being yourself. It's all about taking what comes in life that you have absolutely no control over and being able to pivot and thrive and keep going. And it's okay that your marriage didn't work out. It's okay. What's not okay is that you don't come out of that without learning something. That's not okay. So you just keep going. And it's kind of like, and then home is just like, you're home right now. Like all this stuff around my house, it's like, it's very unstyled, but I'm okay with that because I'm doing things and I'm trying to get somewhere. And what you see is not a mess. This is progress. This is
beautiful mess.
It's a beautiful mess. Yes. And it's a lifestyle and a brand in progress. If you've seen, the Apple House or, what's his name? His house, the house or the garage or the place that, Apple started or Amazon started. They have these pictures out there on the internet. Well, this is this, and it is what it is. And so I'll take it. So I kind of see it that way. And so that's it. And in there, I sell furniture. I offer my design services. I give you this life unstyled, just to let especially mothers out there know that you don't have to have it all together and be a rock star. You don't have to be perfect like everyone on Instagram and all the things you see. Just be yourself and you rock out at that. Own it. Eddie that thing. Get it done.
I love it. I really love it.
Mm-hmm. That was long.
No, go ahead. Sir.
So Eddie, I mean, you've experienced a lot. You've seen a lot. You talked about dating. You talked about business. You talked about passion. And I heard a lot about that. Through your monologue. Forgive me.
My dissertation.
What are some of the most important lessons you've learned, through your experiences?
I think the number one thing that, I know this thing drives me, and I know that it's been intertwined in my life, my whole life, without me ever noticing it. But it's always been there. So my mother, growing up in our house, we had this little wood plaque next to the door that was the Serenity Prayer. And it's like, God grant me the serenity, blah, 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 blah. It's like the things, to understand the things that I can change and to know the difference when I can't, and, all that stuff. I don't know it exactly, but I know it when I see it. And I love the prayer. Right. So I read that, or I seen that. And it's so funny because this happened to Frank Lloyd Wright. His parents put up drawings in his room while he grew up, like architectural drawings, and he became one of the best or the well-known architects in his lifetime, right? And so this poem being next to the door every day, I never knew what it meant. I didn't even know what serenity meant. Yeah. So growing up, though, I became a heptathlete. And one major rule when you're running track or you're a heptathlete for certain is that you go through, I have 7 events. So through those events, you cannot get all caught up on the last event, or if you messed up or whatever, right? You got to keep it moving or you're going to mess up the rest of your meet, right? So I kind of, became a pro at just compartmentalizing and moving on. Okay, this was the good part of that. Let me take the good part. Sorry, got to go, just keep it moving because I got to finish this event. So in life, I feel like it kind of taught me to not worry about the things I had no control over. I cannot be concerned with that where it's weighing me down. So it's helped me in relationships. It's helped me through life. It's helped me through track and field events. It's, it got me really, really protected me through a lot of situations that I've been through where I didn't fall apart because I'm like, there's nothing I can do about that. Let me apologize for my part in this or change whatever I can change. Or if not, let me take what's good and it doesn't have to be bad. And let's just all move on, because that's just what it should be. So learning that and now that I understand that this is my life, after everything that I've gone through, I'm like, I have no control over how someone treats me, what people do to me, blah, blah, blah. It's the only thing that's in my control is how I react. Mm-hmm. So when you realize that that's all you have to worry about, my goodness, been worried about so much, so it makes life easier and you can put things into perspective. And the crazy thing about all of that, and I don't know when I realized this, but it couldn't have been it had to be within the last couple of years, but it's the name of my street is called Serenity Lane. Mm-hmm. Go figure. I just realized that. So I'm like, that means something. I just, kind of it all connected. And so it just all makes sense to me. It's like common sense to me. So it's just easier for me to move along and just be like, nothing I can do about that. Not going to worry about it. I don't know how it's going to get there. All I got to do is see it and where I'm just supposed to get there. And so far, that's what's been happening because I can't tell you how this stuff gets put together. I don't even know how I know you guys. I just say it and within the next 6 months, it happens. That's all I know.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. That helps you to visualize, right? Like to help you be more clear on on the path that you want.
Right.
Makes it easy. That's a huge message for us and for I think for all of the listeners, because we are here with business owners, with entrepreneurs, and people that are always on this similar and same challenges as you may be. And I understand that we all have like different ways of dealing with things, right? But I think what you are sharing with us, Eddie, talks about a good path for happiness, right? Because you're talking about just being yourself, just don't expect it to be perfect, just do it, just go.
That's all you can do. There's a book that I read that I tell everybody to, and I'm not a book reader, so I listened to it, but it was only like 2.5 hours, but it put everything that I feel like I already felt in perspective, like, God, I think that way. Oh, that's great. And he just confirmed this for me. And then he went into detail with words I would have never came up with. But there's a book called, one of you guys have probably read it. It's called The 4 Agreements. You read of that? Have you read that? It's an awesome book. It's like, what is it? Your word is impeccable. So whatever you say, it's not about holding yourself accountable to other people. It's about if you say it, you hold it up for yourself. You do it, right? So you hold yourself to accountable. And what you say is what it is. And then the other one is like, don't take anything personal.
Don't take it personal.
Don't take anything personal. How people treat you is not your business. What they think about you is not your business. Unfortunately, it's just not. There's nothing you can do about it. So why are you worried about it? And then what was the other one?
The fourth
one was always do your best. Right? So you always do your best. If you leave it all on the field and you don't win, that's the best you could have done anyway. So when I was running track and I was coming kind of down off, and I had went to the Olympic trials in 96. And then they were assembling a team of people to go to St. Louis, Jackie Joyner and Bob Kersey and everybody, because we were all heptathletes in the LA area. And they were kind of assembling athletes to go to St. Louis. And I was going to, wondering if I should ask them, I'm in Orlando now, I'm not in LA anymore. Should I come train with you guys? And I kind of called a girl that I trained with before. She was at USC and I was at UCLA. And she was going to St. Louis to train after the 96 trials. We didn't make the team. And I was like, well, this is the big push. If you're going to train now, you're training for the next Olympics. And this is probably going to be our last try for it. And we're age right for it. Jackie's gone. This person's gone. It's time for some other people to move up. And I thought to myself, I don't know if I want to be that good. I don't know if I want to train that hard anymore. I just went through 4 years of training, and man, that is a lifetime situation. Like I like to go out and have a good time. And I realized that if you're going to be that good, you got to eat shit and drink track and field. And my life was never that way. I was always good enough to be in the crowd, but I had never mentally made the decision that I was going to cut the rest of my life off for it, which a lot of people did, right? I hadn't gotten there yet. And I knew this was kind of the point where I had to make that decision. So I was kind of like, yeah, I'm good. I'm okay with getting second or last. I just want to be better every day. And the coach I was training with was kind of like, well, if you feel that way, this isn't for you. This next level might not be for you because you gotta want it so bad. And I was like, I think I understand that. I've trained with, Maurice Green and Marie Jose Perec, and all these people won the 96. They were second in the 100, 200, 400, Mike Powell and Carl Lewis. And I'm training with all these people. So I now realize, although I've been a really good athlete my whole life, I'm looking at these people like, man, I've been good, but I don't think like you guys. I don't go home and watch tape. I don't go home and eat right. I go out, I have drinks, I'm doing things with my girls. I'm like, I got practice. Let me see if I can move stuff around. Where these people, they have moved from different parts of the country to train here. They are serious. I don't want to do that. I'm like, I don't think I want to do that. And I'm okay with not winning. I'm okay with just being a better athlete. And so coach was kind of like, well, sounds like you're kind of making your own decision, because on this level, this is where you need to be. And I just was like, I don't think so. I just want to be better. So when I was listening to the 4 agreements, and it was like, just do your best. That's the best you can do. And I was like, see, See, I was right. I was right. I'm not competing against anybody else. I just want to be better me. And if I did better and I got last, I'm cool with that. That's the best I could have did anyway. You know, if I ran a whole second faster, who can I be mad at? You know, that I didn't win. So I don't know. I don't know what makes a good athlete, but I always felt like it was something more than what I had or what I wanted to sacrifice. So, but do your best. And then the other one, the last one, Ingrid, was
do your best. Don't make assumptions.
Don't make assumptions. That one.
Don't take anything personally, and be impeccable with your word.
Impeccable with your word. Yeah, it's a very good book. It's a very big. It's like Cliff Notes. If you follow those 4 agreements, you can probably find answers for anything you have questions to.
Peace and happiness.
Yeah, easy. It's a choice.
That should be the goal. Yeah. And the path.
Yes. Yep.
Cool. I like I really like the be better every day. That certainly resonates with me.
Mm-hmm. All of the multitasking I have to do as a business owner and the multiple brands and trying to figure out how to make things work. It's a process of being productive every day. It really is a process that you go through. It's not something that most people know how to do. I definitely wasn't an overachiever in my life. I achieved at being a great C student. Like I was like, see, this is all I got to do. I'm doing this. I don't care about being the best. I'm good. I want to party. I want to do this. And the C makes all this possible. So stay right here. But yeah, like it helps me every day when I come to my desk or I have things to do. I just say, let me get done the most things that I could pay attention to today. Every day may not be 100%. Some days I may only have 70. Some days I may only have 40. But as long as I give that whole 40, as long as I give everything that I have, because I'm kind of, got to go pick up kids. I got to make dinner. I'm in and out, blah, blah, blah. And so I kind of compute it like, all right, well, something's in the oven. Let me go send out 3 emails. Eddie, just do 3 email returns. Just, so I'm always kind of pushing myself to where now I wake up and it becomes a natural thing. So it's a process to be productive all the time. This is not how I started. I wonder why the hell, what was I doing in my 30s? Because I had so much free time. I'm like, what the heck was I doing? I wasn't good at this. I'm not that good now, but I wasn't doing this. I would have been way more ahead if I was this productive in my 30s, So that's my daily thing. Just do the best you can. Get as much done as you can. I make a list and I write stuff down that I did at 6:00 in the morning. Wake up, read your Bible, cross that out. I just like to cross stuff out. And so go take a shower. Ooh, let me cross that out. I did that. I just want to see the cross outs. That eggs me on. So that's exciting. Mm-hmm. Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm. That's the best way to plan. Yeah, that's really smart.
Mm-hmm. Get stuff done.
So we have 3 questions for you right now.
Okay.
First question, you have to think about it. Well, you actually don't have to think. You don't need to think. Just say whatever first comes to your mind.
Okay.
Okay. Who would you like to meet and to talk to if you would have the possibility to go to the past and just talk with whoever you wanna talk and ask a question, or maybe something you want to say or ask? Who would that be?
That damn Eve. Why in the hell? Eve. Why would you bite that apple, girl? Let's talk about this. Let's just start over. Just go to the source. Let's talk about the apple situation. I want to know why she did it. That's
Why?
Because based on that story, our lives are the way that they are. We're in turmoil. We're always fighting. The men and women are always against each other. A man always feels like a woman wants to control him, and a woman is always at a man, like da-da-da-da-da, and go out and work and bring it back. It's just always tension. So based on that story, and because I'm so into relationships, I kind of evolved from that. Eve, I want to know why she messed up You had everything you needed, girl. You had a house, you had a car, you had everything you needed. Full refrigerator. You didn't even have to work.
So you're curious about how that decision was made or something like that?
Yeah. Like, why?
What moves her?
The apple. Why did you feel like that was necessary? Why did you let him trick you? Why did you let him trick you?
That's a true mom.
I'm sorry. That's always been my answer to that question.
Great. Okay. You want to do a second, Rick?
Sure. Give us someone. I guess it could be real or fictional. Give us someone that you look up to.
Ooh, someone that I look up to. Someone that I look up to, and I would probably want to have a conversation with. Like that, like someone like, ooh, you know what? They're always just so on point, or they're themselves. And I really admire Denzel Washington.
Okay.
I really admire Denzel. I feel like his story and where he comes from, and he just always seems so regal and so real. You see him and you just automatically trust whatever he says, whether, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying he's a perfect human. I'm sure he's not, but I love to see him. I love what he represents. I think he represents and who he is. I would love if there was someone in my life like that. I think, it's just a strong figure to be around, or someone who maybe doesn't say a whole lot, but when they say something, it's like, what did he say? So I like him. I guess, Oprah to a certain extent, is a big deal for people my age, or for me. She kind of, there's certain things that Oprah says or that I always remember. And one of those things is she always said, she has a show where she gives everybody in the audience, or she picks a couple people in the audience, and whatever they wish for, she makes it happen. Whatever their wildest fantasy is, you thought would never happen, you write it down, you turn it in, and she picks people that she actually gives it to or does it for, or whatever. So whether it's buy my mom and me a house next to each other, or something really off the wall. So once they get it, and she always will ask them, now that you have exactly what you wish for, if you thought that this was going to happen, would you have wished for the same thing, or would you have just gone big? Would you have supersized it? And they always like, man, I would have wished for more if I thought I was going to get it. Mm-hmm. And so one thing I learned from her was just always, whatever you can dream of, supersize it. So when I come up with ideas, I'm always like, okay, well, that was a cute idea. That was cool. How do I supersize that? Now, how do I make it fantastic? Because if I can see it, I'm shooting for that. It's definitely going to be better than whatever I thought small that we think can come up with, right? Because we really think small. We don't always think as big as things can happen. If God says you can get, or you can, he'll deliver whatever it is that you dream and you believe in, then why aren't you believing in dreams? Why aren't you starting there and just figuring out where you fall? It's going to be so much better than what you could have came up with by yourself, or depending on yourself completely. Just like, okay, I'm going to throw it out there. I'm not going to worry about the how. I'm just going to see it. And so far, it's worked for me. So I don't know if people call that manifesting. People, some people say it's faith, whatever you want to call it. It's the same principle. Yeah.
It is what it is. Yeah.
It is.
Well, that was great. The third one would be, that I don't know if also you already answered to this with what you were mentioning earlier, about your 30s and what you have liked to do before with your planning and your organization. Mm-hmm. But if you could, and also, I know that we always say that we shouldn't regret anything, but yeah, there's always one thing that at least we should would like to do better, would like to have done better.
Would have done.
So yeah, so do you have something like that? Do you have maybe a period of your life that you would like to relive, to do it something differently, or that you would like to change?
You know what? It's hard to say. I do have something, but I think that it would sacrifice where I am now. Mm. I know that whatever it would have turned into, it would have been something completely different, I'm thinking. So when I was living in LA, I did just as side jobs. There were a bunch of athletes on the track, and they made money by doing commercial work and the Olympics were coming up. So a ton of Olympic commercials and track and field and different sporting commercials that we needed to put together. So they were getting hired left and right. And they were always like, you should come with us. I'm sure you'll get hired. You should come to this with us. So I started going to a few auditions with someone on the track. And before you know it, I was getting hired for all these commercials and stuff. So after about 2 years, the agent that was in charge of those athletes was like, hey, we'd like to meet you. In fact, do you want to do a headshot or something? And I'm like, we've never even met you, but you've got all these jobs. And I was like, yeah, I guess, so going through that, and it was very easy at that point, right? And I felt like since I wasn't trying, I liked it because I wasn't trying and I was working. As soon as I started making headshots and trying to, put a little bit more emphasis on it, or taking acting classes because there were movie parts and different things to read. And, if you had a little bit more experience, you can get more access to things. And so I was thinking that, and it seems like the jobs started slowing down. But I think that I went to a performing arts high school. I tried out 4 plays. I seem to have been a natural. Now, looking back on it, I seem to have been a natural. A few of the coaches, the drama coaches, wanted me to do a few plays, and I always couldn't because I had volleyball or I had track, and I just never chose against those things. So my supersized thing in life would be, if I wasn't doing this, what other dream job would I do? And that would be acting. Or some type of something trained like that. I think I would be, and I just came up with this last week, but I think I would have been a comedic actress because I'd like to do kind of funny skits and stuff like that. Like I can do that stuff I love still. I just never really got back into it. So if I had to regret anything, it's probably living in LA. When I was living in LA and I had all these had access to all these people. I mean, from LL Cool J to, the Levert brothers, to anybody I ran into was always trying to put me in something. And so had I been intentional about, I think they seen how green I was maybe and how naive I was maybe, I don't know. But had I been more intentional or had some plan about where I wanted to go or what I wanted to do, it's a brave step to say you're an actress, even in LA, because you really have to throw your soul out there. And it's something that I wasn't comfortable with saying I wanted to do. I kind of did it on the low or behind everything. I wasn't talking about it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you don't want to own that, because if you're not making it, you're not an actress. You know what I mean? So it's like, I wasn't going to own that. I was an athlete who worked at, did some side jobs or whatever, but I did movies. I did videos. I did Tupac and Biggie's last videos. I worked and I did a Fila commercial and Gatorade, and, I was always getting hired for stuff. So that probably is the one thing that I wish I knew more about. And I was looking at the lady. There was a lady here in Atlanta who she got hired to do the Black Panther movie. Mm-hmm. She's like 70 years old. I don't know if she's done much acting, but they hired her because of how she looked. And I was like, oh, that's it. I'm doing the next Black Panther movie. That is me. I'm the warrior, bitch. It's me. They're going to look for me. So I need to get ready. I need to get my acting together. So
but you know what? You're the protagonist of your own brand and your own business. I mean, it sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, we vision or we have a name for something, but maybe what's behind that. Okay, so being an actress or you're playing a role, or being the protagonist or something like on some story. I mean, you are definitely that today.
It is all about being who you are, owning it. So I got to get away from myself and just do whatever comes next.
You took a different path, but you're still an actress of your own movie.
Hollywood followed me to Atlanta. Now I'm like, oh goodness, they're making movies again. Uh-oh. I thought I was safe over here. Uh-oh, gonna get a job now. So
that's exciting.
Mm-hmm. So that's it. Mm-hmm. But I think all the TV stuff that has come by with people wanting to do design shows and it's always felt like more of a forced thing. Mm-hmm. Although I want to do it, it doesn't feel natural. So kind of, waiting for the right opportunity on that. I'm not pressed about it. And I think that if I just keep thinking about it and putting it in the atmosphere, and if I really want it, it's available. I haven't taken that road yet.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thanks for being on the show. But those are wonderful stories, incredible stories, and congratulations on the life that you've lived. I mean, you've done a lot. You know, I one of my questions was going to be, what have you done that's been interesting? But I mean, you know, that's so cool. That is so cool.
Yeah. Little things. I feel like that feather on Forrest Gump. You just kind of always end up in the right place or something that's going on at the time, like the LA riots, or, you know, it seems like I was always somewhere where I'm like, did I do that? Went to LA one weekend, OJ kills Nicole. I'm like, what the heck? This stuff is following me around.
Is that what happened? I was wondering.
Yeah, I was there. I was with Tupac the night before he got shot. I was there the night Biggie got shot. I was like, good. I gotta move around. So I come to Atlanta and I feel like everything's coming to Atlanta now. Like, I didn't come here because of Freaknik. I never came here, not one time. Like, the first time I was here was for the trials. I was not an Atlanta fanatic. I came here because I broke up with my boyfriend of 10 years and I just ran away from every place I had ever lived. And Atlanta was the only place that I'd only been to once. I was like, I'm going there. Just going to start over. Call me Eddie. Nobody calls me Edwina anymore. Like, I just was like, that's it. I'm cutting off these wings and I'm there. So Atlanta's a big deal. And now I feel like everybody's following me here.
There you go. That's exactly
right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Eddie, for accepting this invitation.
Yes.
Yeah, we loved having you. And just want to thank all of our audience for watching the show. Really enjoyed the show. And we're looking for my goodness, it's going again. And we're looking forward to the next show. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram. We're on LinkedIn and every place else in the world. Just look us up at Epiphany, and we'll see you next time.
Well, everyone, thanks for listening to the show. We hope that you've enjoyed it.
We would love to hear your feedback or review. If you loved it, drop us a line. Let us know what business topics are on your mind. We'll make sure to talk about it in an upcoming episode.
If you have any questions or you would like to be featured on the show, message us on social. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Epiphany. We'd love to hear from you.
Thanks again for listening. We look forward to seeing you next time on Epiphany Off the Cuff.